BBC Radio Kent Drive Time with Dominic King.
Next Tom left it to the very
What's
last.
on, and Paffett, come together, Andrew!
Oh, and Paffett's just going to go driving straight on.
Now, disappointing news if you're a fan of the German touring car Masters, or DTM as it's known, then you won't be able to go and watch Brands Hatch next year. It was announced today that the series will not race in the UK at all next year. So what does that mean for the Kent circuit, which has only recently hosted the final round of the British Touring Car Championships, in a few days' time host the final of the British Superbikes? Joining me on the line, someone who knows the series inside out, Bromley's Gary Paffett, a DTM driver in that series. Gary, thanks for being with us tonight. Really appreciate your time.
That's no problem, Dominic.
So is this a big loss to Brands Hatch, do you think?
I think it is. I mean, it's a loss to Brands Hatch. It's a loss to the British motorsport fans and certainly to us British drivers racing in the DTM as well. You know, we've enjoyed racing the DTM and seeing the crowds grow year on year at Brands Hatch. And it's very disappointing for there not to be a race at Brands Hatch or, in fact, anywhere in the UK next year.
What will it mean to you not to race on this circuit in the future for DTM?
It is really disappointing. You know, I think one of my best wins in the series. I've been in the series for 10 years now. One of my best wins was winning at Brands Hatch last year in 2012, because the emotion you get from winning at your home race, you know, in front of all your friends and family in your home crowd, it's an incredible feeling. So, not being able to race in the UK and not having the access for the British fans to see us race is disappointing, and it definitely will be missed.
I mean, that is an interesting point you raised there, because I guess for you guys, you get the adulation of the fans. They'll travel with you everywhere. But for you personally, it's that Kent connection, that homegrown place that makes it feel that extra special.
It is, yeah. You know, I've got a lot of family and friends in Kent. So, you know, I get a lot of support. And although it's a pretty hectic weekend, it's great to have so many people they can just get in a car and drive down the road. When you've got people who've got to fly out, book hotels and everything to go to other circuits, it makes it more difficult. But when people can just jump in a car and just drive down the road to the circuit and watch you race, it's great. And it's you know, that sort of access that makes it really good fun to have a race in the UK. And
this potentially means then that well, it does mean that there's not a UK round. That's disappointing for you.
Yeah, very disappointing. You know, since I raced in the series, we had a round in the UK. I think there was a couple of years without it, but you know, the majority of the time, there's always been a race in the UK somewhere. It started off at Donington Park, and it was a Brands Hatch for the last 8 years, I think. So, that's what's most disappointing, I think, is that there isn't a race in the UK at all. You know, there's other markets that we're looking at now. So we're now going to Moscow and looking to go back to China and places. So there's different places they're looking at. But I really hope that it's not the end of DTM in the UK. I think the UK fans really enjoy it, and the crowds were growing year on year. So it's very disappointing to lose it for next year, but I really hope that we can get a race back in the UK sometime in the very near future.
I guess changes get made all the time in the racing circuit, and you just have to, as a driver, have to know where you're going.
Exactly. You know, it's not the only change, the only race that we lose for next year. I think the loss of Zandvoort race in Holland is also a big loss, because a lot of the drivers really felt that was one of their favourite circuits to race on.
What's the reason behind it, Gary?
You know, a lot of it is, I guess, political or financial. You know, the circuits have to justify, you know, holding the race and whether it's financially viable for them, and the series has to look at the sort of, you know, the crowds they're getting, and also the three big manufacturers, you know, manufacturing cars also need to look at the market that's appealing for them. And I guess that's why they're looking at China as being a race they could hold there in a long time in the future, which is a shame. You know, it is a shame that there's that many sort of politics in motorsport, but as drivers, we're quite aware of that after being here for a lot of years. And I just hope that, you know, we manage to get a race back in the UK, you know, quite soon.
Gary, good to talk to you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us on Drive Time.
No problem.
That's Bromley's Gary Paffett, DTM driver in the series. If you haven't heard that news and you're a big fan, you should know.